In this worksheet, this is based on square and square roots. I'm going to solve square and cube roots. There are some 12 questions I'll solve. Let's begin with the first part here. In the first part, we have to find this value. Let me first write down. Yeah, this is 99 square minus 98 square. It can be done in two ways. One, by applying the identity a square minus b square, but there is an easier way. You should remember that the difference of the squares of two consecutive number. So you must be knowing consecutive numbers, right? This is 99 and 98 are consecutive, that is back to back. Then in such a case, if you have to find the difference of the squares of two consecutive number, then it is equal to the sum of the two numbers. Right. So this is 98 plus 99 should give you how much? This is, you can see that it is 3 less than 200. So 197 should be the answer. The next question is, what will be the unit digit in the square root of this? So we just have to see the unit digit. So we don't have to see the whole number. Just look into the unit digit. You see the square root of 4 ends with what? 2. So we'll say that the unit digit in this case of the square root of the following will end with the digit 2. You may alternately think that the digit whose square ends with 4, the reverse way. So it is the 2 whose squares end with 4. Now, you also know that 8 square also ends with the digit 4, right? 8 squares also ends with the digit 4. So we have to, what will be the unit digits? Unit, I think it should be digits, right? Could be more than one answer. When you find the square root of 4, right? So it can be either 2 or 8. Once again, we know that the square of 2 ends with 4 and the square of 8 also ends with a digit from here, ends with a digit 4. So we have to find out the square root of this and what will be the unit digit without actually finding the square root. So there are two possible answers. It can be 2 or 8. Should be 2 or 8. The third question is to find the square of this number. So we know that we have to find the square of this number. That means we have to get 0.07 square. You know that 7 square is 49. And we have two decimal place here. Decimal place is 2. Then in the square of a number, the decimal place get doubled. So the two decimal place will be have 4 decimal places. So you'll be writing this, the square of 0.07. The next question 4, it says one of the members of the Pythagorean triplet is 16. Then find the two numbers. So let's recall what is Pythagorean triplets. These are three numbers. Say I took this such that the sum of the squares of two number is equal to the square of the other. Like we know that 6 square is 36 and 8 square is 64, which is equal to 10 square, that is 100. So we'll say these are Pythagorean triplet, three such numbers in which the square of two smaller number is equal to the square of larger number. Now, Pythagorean triplets, the general formula is what this is, I think 2m, then m square minus 1 and m square plus 1. Yeah, that is what. This is one of the member is 16. It could be this, this, or this. But then what I can see that this is even, so I'll plug in 2m as 16. So that means if I equate 2m with 16, that will give us the value of m, which is 16 divided by 2, right? That is 8. Once we get the value of m here, now one by one, we can place the value of m in each of them. Like from here, if I place m as 8, I'm getting 2 into m, that is 16. Here, if I'm placing m as 8, so 8 square minus 1, 8 square minus 1, that is 63. And if I replace m here with, again, 8, so we'll get 8 square, that is 64, plus 1, that is 65. So now we'll say that the three triplet, The triplet here is, these three are the Pythagorean triplets of, so the other two members we have to find out, but the all three members are 16, 63, and 65. Since 16 was given, so we'll declare this and this to be the two other members. The next question is to simplify this. So we know that half square is half into half, that is 1/4, plus square root of 25 is what? 5. But then we have two decimal place, then in its square root, there will be, after finding square root, it will have half the number of decimal place. So two decimal place will give you one decimal place. So this is 1/4, and this I can write 0.5 is half only. Now for the simplification, I'll take LCM as 4. This is 1 time and this is 2 times. So finally it is 3/4, which is 0.75. The question here is the least number that should be added to this to make a perfect square. Now, we have to find the smallest such number which when added to this is a perfect square. Clearly, this is not a perfect square, and we have to add the smallest such number. So we use division method in order to find that. So it's 4931. So if I apply division method, putting a bar from behind, making a doublet of each, you know that 7 square is 49. So it's 7 plus 7, that is 14. And this is 49. We get a 0 here. Now there's a bar over it. That means all three will carry out. Now we have to place one such number here, maybe 1, 2, which when multiplied by the same number will give you this or a number closer to this. I can see even if I place 1 here, we are getting a bigger than this. So we should place 0 here. Placing a 0 here, you should get how much? 0, 0. Now 31 is the remainder. But then what you can see here that we have to not subtract a number, right? The smallest number that must be added and not subtracted. Had it been subtracted, then we'd have say 31 should be subtracted to make it perfect square. So we have to take a bigger number larger than this. So instead of 0, I'll plug in 1 here. So if I multiply by 1, right, as you must be knowing that the rules for finding the division method. So if I multiply by 1 here and get the difference here, the difference is always bigger minus smaller. So it's coming out to be 110. So we'll take one more, right? Since it was coming lesser in 0, that's why I placed 1 here. So 110, right? So the least number that has to be subtracted, the least number is 110. So not subtracted, sorry, should be added is 110. So 110 should be added to this. This is the smallest. There can be many more number, but this is the smallest which has to be added to make a perfect square. In question number 7, we have to simplify this. What you know that the square root of 900, right? The square root of 900 is, the square root of 9 is 3. And for every 20, we place 10. So once you know the square root of 9, you can find out the others also. Square root of 9 here also should be 3. But for every 2 decimal place, there will be half the decimal place. Figure out that we have the same pattern here. For 9 is going to be 3. You can count the decimal place here. I can say 6. Then half of 6 is what? 3. It will have 3 decimal places. Now, next is addition. You may add it like this. If you cannot do it verbally, you may write this as 0.3 followed, this is 0.3 followed by 300, and for this, it's going to be 0.003. So you add to get 303.03. So you'll say that this is 30.303. The 8th question is to find the cube of 1.1. So first you need to find out the cube of 11, that is 11 into 11 into 11. If you know the cube, that's very good, that you can straight away write 1331 here. But then as you can see, it is 1.1. So the decimal place will become, for finding the cube, it becomes thrice. So one decimal place will give you 3 decimal places so on. So this would be the answer in this case. The question here is write the smallest number after 1 that is a perfect square as well as perfect cube. So we can do it by hit and trial method. Like say if I write after 1 it is 2, 2 square is 4, right? And this is not a perfect cube, right? 2 square. And because we have to look for the smallest number which is a perfect square as well as perfect cube, right? So just write down the squares number also, like we have 1 square as 1, 2 square as 4, 3 square as 9, 4 square as 16, 5 square as 25, 6 square 36, 7 square 49, 8 square is 64. Now similarly, if you keep on writing the cube, 1 cube is 1, 2 cube is 8, 3 cube is 27, 4 cube is 64. Now check here. So 64 is one such number that comes after 1, nearest to 1, because we have to look for the smallest. There are many more numbers which are perfect square as well as perfect cube. But as you can see, we have to find out the smallest number. So it will be 64, which is a perfect square as well as perfect cube. In question number 10, we have to find the smallest number by which this should be multiplied so that we get a perfect cube. That means it is not a perfect cube. Let's say if I factorize this, right? 1, 3, 2, 3. Clearly, sum is multiple of 3, so we'll be dividing by 3. 3, 4 times is 12. Again, 4 times is 12, and this is 1 time. Now, 4, 4, 1 is divisible by what? It should be divisible by 7. Actually, it is 21 square, so I'm dividing it. It's divisible by 3 as well. So let's do by 3. 3, 1 time. 4 times is 12, 7 times. Continue dividing with 3. It is 4 times 12, and that's 9 times 27. Now it's divisible by 7 now. 7, 7 times, and 7, 1 time. So if you write, you can see there is we have a triplet of 3, but then we do not have a triplet of 3. We need one additional 7 here. We need one more 7, one more 7. So multiplying 7 over here is same as multiplying 7 over here. So we'll say that the smallest number with which 7 is the smallest number with which this should be multiplied so as to make a perfect cube. The next is to find the cube root of these numbers. So what we will do, let's say if I factorize them, 9, 6, 8. If I factorize by 2 for finding cube, it is 4 times 8, 8 times 16, and 4 times again. With 2, it is 2 times, 4 times, 2 times. With 2, 1 times, 2 times, 1 time. Now this is divisible by 11 only, so I'll write 11 into 11. Now same way, if I find the prime factorization of 1, 3, 1, 3, 7, 5, should be divisible by 5 only. We can start with any prime number. So 5, 2 times is 10, 37, that is 7 times is 35. Again, we get a 2 remainder, 25, that is 5 times. Continue dividing with 5, 5 times is 25, we get a 2 remainder. It's again by 5, we are getting 11. Now check here, if I write down this prime factorization, it's for first number, it is 2 into 2 into 2 into 11 into 11. And then for the next one, it is what? It is 5 into, this is 5 into 5 into 5 into 11. Now what you can observe that to get, there is a triplet of 2, there is a triplet of 5 as well. And clubbing these together, we can say there is a triplet of 11 as well. As you know that whenever you find out the cube root of a number, let's say if we have to get the cube root of this, that is the cube root of this, for every triplet of a number, we'll write 1 times. So 11 is 3 times, is a triplet. And for 5 also, this is. So 5 into 2 is 10, and 10 into 11 is 110. So we'll say that the cube root of this number is 110. Now we are on the last question of this worksheet. Question number 12 says the three numbers are in the ratio this, and the sum of their cube is this. We have to find the number. So what I'll assume that, let's say, these are in ratios. So I can take the three numbers, one be x, the other be 2x, and the third be 3x. Now, according to question, this is an abbreviation for according to question, the sum of their cubes. That means x cube, first number cube is x cube, and sum, right, with sum of their cubes. The cube of this is what? I may show it. This is the cube of first plus the cube of the second number plus the cube of the third number gives you 7776. Now x cube is what? X cube. 2 cube is 8 and x cube is x cube only. And likewise, this is 27x cube should give you 7776. Now let's add this number. So 27 into 8 is 35 plus 1, 36. 36 times x cube is 7776. What next? We'll be transposing 36 to the other side. That means dividing it by 36. Now you may reduce it by 6 first. So I'll do it directly. I know that this is exactly divisible by 216, like 36, 776 divided by 36. So what we got here x cube as 216. So clearly x will be cube root of this. You may write the steps here. In that case, what you're getting x as 6, a cube of 6. That's right. So this is x we got. Now what we are going to do is to plug in the value of x in all three numbers. Replacing this x with 6, it is 6. 2 times 6, that is 12, and 3 times 6, which is 18. So therefore, the required numbers are 6, 12, and 18. Yeah, these are the three numbers. This is and 18. So that should be our answer for this part.